Who is this person who speaks to me as though I needed his advice?
Hey everyone, hope all is well. Today, when we're talking about jiu-jitsu, we're going to talk about binge watching stuff, whether it's DVDs, streaming, same stuff, right? Or Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. You know, when you're learning jiu-jitsu, I would stick to learning at the school, especially when you just start, because there's too much information out there that's sometimes good, sometimes bad, and you don't know the difference because you're new. You don't know anything. You know, even if you do, you probably don't know anything. The smartest person or wisest person, if you ask them if they know everything, they'll say, I know nothing. So when you're a beginner, and of course you get into jiu-jitsu, you get the grappling bug, right? And you want to learn as much as you can, as fast as you can. But just like anything, nobody could be force-fed. If you eat too much, you're going to throw it all up, right? So that means when it comes to technique, you're not going to retain anything. And the more conflicting stuff that you learn, especially with some of the stuff out there, it's going to make it more difficult for you to really start to use that stuff. So I would recommend, as a beginner, you're paying for an academy, go to the academy or the gym or the school, whatever you're calling it, and learn from your teacher that you're paying a monthly fee for. Don't take one class and then go and start watching all this stuff and go, well, that person's doing it, so that's what I should probably do, because if he's a champion, that must be the best stuff on earth, and they'll make me a champion. And next thing you know, you're not learning at the place that you're supposed to be learning at. And this becomes a big problem. Why? Because now you think you know more than you actually do, because you're binge watching on social media or anything else, when you should be just focusing on what you're learning in class. When the teacher's teaching, you should be paying attention and listening. You should be drilling only that move that the teacher's teaching in class. Don't go, oh, yeah, I've seen that before 100 times. I'm gonna do what Shmosha is doing, and I'm gonna do that because that's better. Meanwhile, now you think you know better than the teacher. This is the most disrespectful thing, and I've been through it. Not that I've done that, because whatever our teacher taught, we did in class. I'm a martial artist. I've been doing martial arts since 7 years old. If I'm paying to learn from that person, I'm gonna learn from that person. I'm not gonna go, oh, I know better, because I watched this on TV and this on YouTube. It's totally disrespectful, and this is a common thing these days. If you want the teacher to invest in you, you have to invest in your teacher. If you're starting to watch stuff all the time when you're a beginner, you're not investing in your teacher. It's almost like you don't trust them, that they're not good enough. And this becomes a big problem in school for sure, because now the teacher starts noticing that you're not doing anything that they're teaching. So they take a step back, or they call you out, and it makes it uncomfortable, and then maybe you go to a different school, or they just don't pay attention to you because you're not doing what they taught. It's the most disrespectful thing, even if you don't think of that. It just is, and I wouldn't do it. So if you're a beginner, watch some grappling tournaments. That's it. Don't watch any instructionals. Don't go, oh, this is a fancy move, because you don't know shit. It's the easiest way to say it. You don't know shit. So pay attention to what your teacher's teaching you. Practice that, drill it, don't forget it. The worst thing is you learn a move, and then the next day you come to class, you don't remember what it was. That's not serving you at all. I remember in school, when you're learning a vocabulary word, you have 10 vocabulary words for the week you get on Monday, and by Friday you get a test to see if you remember them, and you know how to spell them, and you know the definitions. It shouldn't be any different. Any move that you learn in jiu-jitsu, even if it's not something you feel is built for you, because not every move is built for everybody, you want to understand it enough where you could see it coming, where you could counter it, and that you're not surprised by it. If you're not learning in class, you're not learning. A lot of people don't have very good kinesthetic awareness, where within space and time, if you say grab, they'll grab like this, or they'll grab with the wrong hand. So if you're not a person that's already has this amazing ability to just pick things up on a physical and visual level, you're going to be making a total mess by you watching so much stuff on social media. Pay attention to what you're doing in class. Learn from your teacher. If you're not getting it, ask them to demonstrate it again. Ask them to help you out. But I guarantee the teacher's going to be motivated to help you when you're really trying as a student to do what they just showed you. Not your own shit, because you don't know shit as a beginner. And this is the brutal truth where some people just don't get it. There's a lot of people I've seen in class where the person is teaching something really detailed and important, and that person's like, oh, that's not a big deal. Let me show you this. It's just not the way to go. So when it comes to watching stuff, though, you'll get the biggest education watching grappling, watching tournaments, because then it's going to check you and your ability to notice what's going on, what's happening, what's being set up, how that person's countering. This will give you a higher jiu-jitsu IQ than saying, oh, I own 5,000 DVD sets of all these things. It doesn't matter. When you start to get to a certain level, and I would say somebody who's mid-blue belt, then start watching stuff because you're like, oh, look, Renzo Gracie, Hickson, Marcelo Garcia, Pedapano, Jacare, I'm naming my people. Oh, these people have more of my style or a fit for who I am and my ability. So, oh, Renzo Gracie has a DVD set out. I'm going to get that because I want to learn more of his style because that's what betters me. And this is okay to start to add stuff and start to look outside of what you're learning. But if you're paying for a school, you go there and you learn from that school. If you're doing stuff outside of there, that's okay once you get to a high proficiency level where you have a strong foundation, you have the basics down, you know all of them, and you've still going to learn from your teacher. You should never disrespect your teacher. The only time you should do different things is when you're rolling. That's in your school. That's your lab, right? That's where you could do your research and try stuff out and see what works or doesn't work, because it doesn't matter, because these are your teammates. This is where you could do stuff with trial and error. If you meet up with a friend and you're just drilling stuff, or you're saying, oh, let's work from this position. I saw this. This is okay. Open mat, it's okay to do. You never do this during class. Have you ever gone to a school where every time you come to take a lesson, the teacher's like, okay, we're done with our warm-up. Do whatever you want. You guys know everything. Oh, yeah, for sure. Do the lapel guard, do the squid guard, do the octopus guard. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, that's great. You want to do a no-gi competition? Oh, yeah, keep doing the lapel guard. Perfect. If the teacher doesn't care, that's not a good thing. And then from you doing your own thing, eventually, I know from me teaching for so long, I started teaching jiu-jitsu in 2001. So that's a few years ago, So if somebody's doing their own thing all the time, I know myself, I tell them, and if they keep doing that, they're on their own. It's not my problem, not my circus, not my monkeys. So I would really focus on what's being taught in class, because that's what you're paying for. And most likely, if that person's a black belt, they have probably a little more time than you do on the mats and experience-wise. And I know when I started doing jiu-jitsu, majority of the people that came to Renzo's were already lifetime martial artists that had black belts in multiple things, or high-level wrestlers, which are black belts in wrestling. So you had all this there. And these guys went there to learn. Nobody ever said, oh, you could question something, not like, well, what if the guy does this? And don't become one of those, what if? Because then you're not paying attention to the move. But somebody's like, oh, the person grabbed me here and here, why didn't that work as well? Why, what did I do wrong? And then Renzo would fix you and help you right away. You didn't do your own thing. It's amazing, like, taught an armbar from the mount, and you're going for a heel hook. You're going to be called out. Things were a little more brutal back then, because if somebody did that, that was just disrespectful. But it really didn't happen at all. Now it happens all the time. You have somebody that knows it all because they watch a ton of crap on social media and YouTube, and then they come to class, and not only do they not learn in class, there's somebody that they ruin during the class, and that's their training partner. Because instead of paying attention to the move that you're learning, this person's showing you their fancy new ninja moves that should surprise the world and take jiu-jitsu by storm. And now that person who's paying to learn has a shitty partner, which I have a video being a good training partner. And now it's like, dude, I'm trying to work on the move that we were just shown. Oh, yeah. But this is better. So why are you going to the school if you know everything? You know, this is a big problem. And this is why now with the social media and stuff, it's gotten worse, because now you as a beginner don't know shit. So right away you go, oh, this is fancy. If you want fancy, do Silat, do Eskrima, Kali, do those martial arts. Do Hapkido, do Aikido, do something with high kicks and fancy stuff. Go do that. Jiu-jitsu doesn't have to be fancy to be effective, and that's the thing. It's not fancy. That's why it took so long for it to get popular, and it had to be the UFC and no-holds-barred fights to show the efficiency of it, because when they had it in Lethal Weapon, which Horion and Hoist helped choreograph, that didn't look fancy to anybody. You know, so the fancy moves are most likely low percentage moves, and you don't know the difference. You don't know the difference whether it's a high or low percentage move because you don't know anything. So focus and respect your teacher. Focus on what they're showing you. Respect their teacher. Practice exactly what they're telling you to practice in class, and don't do your own thing. If you want to do your own thing, go open your own academy. Okay, so now let's get now to learning from DVDs, or you could say social media. Now you have a high level of proficiency in jiu-jitsu. You've been training for a couple of years consistently, and you're getting closer to purple belt. Now is the time to start to look at other people's styles and how they teach and what they teach, because you might be teaching soon. And sometimes watching somebody else teach the same move helps you understand it better, where you could explain it better and you could share it in a way that helps the student. Because you got to remember, there's people who are amazing competitors that are shitty teachers, and you have some people that never competed that are amazing teachers. Great example, John Danaher never competed, right? He's a well-known teacher. Well, everybody knows who he is, right? So, and he never competed. But then you have the unicorns of jiu-jitsu that were amazing competitors and amazing teachers. Who are those people? Definitely Renzo Gracie's one of them. Matt Serra's one of them. Marcelo Garcia. Draculino. You know, there's just so many people I can name. Emerson Souza. There's so many people that were amazing competitors and amazing teachers. If you could find that, you are super lucky, and you stay there and you learn from that teacher. Otherwise, there's the athletes that are just athletes, and they show you the move. There's no details, and it's like, go for it. And you're like, I don't know how to grip. Am I doing this right? It looks good to me. How do you do it? I don't know. I just do it. How do you not do it? This is not what you want. You know, so to find a good teacher is the number one thing. And then when you find that person, you learn from them. Okay? And then they help you build your jiu-jitsu, and then there's a sense of respect there, loyalty, and then comes the bond that you have with your teacher because they gave you and shared their knowledge with you. Once you get to a certain level, then you could start to learn a little bit from different things and different ideologies when it comes to videos and stuff, because now you're like, okay, this is what we kind of do in our school. Let's see what this person teaches. Let's see how they teach it. Let's see what they focus on. Oh, wow, that's cool. You know, it's like, we don't really do that in our school, but that actually is good for me, because now I know enough to know what's good for me. It doesn't matter about anybody else in jiu-jitsu when you're not teaching. When you're just a student, you want to look at what's good for you, but you have to know the difference of what is good for you and what isn't good for you. So now I see too many students that just think they know everything, and they're watching too much social media, and they're not learning from their teacher. And now some of them are purple belts, and their jiu-jitsu sucks. Just gotta say it like it is. They don't even have the basis and knowledge of the basics that you should know that we knew at Renzo's after 2 months, and this person's been training 5 years. because they've been focused on all the stuff on social media and haven't really learned from their teacher. And to me, this is just mind-blowing. You know, the belts, everybody's obsessed with the belts. I couldn't give a shit less about a belt. If I want to, I'd rather be somebody that's amazing and people like, wow, you really know your jiu-jitsu. What belt do you? Oh my God, you're a blue belt. Oh my God, you're a purple belt. Then go, oh, you're a brown belt. You're a black belt. And the person's thinking, how is that possible? You know, the person should be totally focused on what they're learning in class from their teacher. If you think about it within other arts or other spirituality stuff, it's like your guru, right? Your sensei. This person's bestowing their knowledge onto you. And you should be a humble student that's there to learn from them. Once you get to a certain level, then it's okay to start to look at things and see what you could add to your game, or seeing what's the new thing so you could understand it enough so you could counter it when you compete or any of those things. And this is super important. There's too many people now that aren't learning in the school that they're paying to learn. And then some of these schools are becoming factories. It's like, here's your stripe. How many days you've been training? Here's your stripe. Here's your belt. Good luck out there. It's like the person doesn't care. You haven't invested in them. They're not investing in you. They're giving you your stripes and your belts just to keep the money flowing and the business going. And if that's good enough for you, then so be it. I know I want to learn everything in the most amount of detail. If you have me talk about the mount position, I could probably talk about that easily for an hour or more, and all the little details with the grips and everything like that, because it's an important thing. When somebody's too busy learning too much stuff online and not learning in class, they're doing themselves a disservice. They're doing the school a disservice, because it's a family, it's a team effort. And I feel sorry for whoever ends up training with you if you're doing your own thing all the time, because that person's not able to learn in class because you're disrupting their learning process. You know, so as a beginner, I would focus totally on what you're doing in class, and that's it. If you know you start to get caught up with stuff, just watch the tournaments. Don't watch any videos, because you don't know better right now. When you've been training for a while, you watch the tournaments, you see what's going on. You're like, wow, that's more popular. Oh, this person has a DVD set on that. You know what? I'm lacking knowledge in that. I need to work on that. Conceptually, at least, let me buy that and let me watch that, so I don't get caught by surprise when I go compete. And I need to practice getting out of that. This is important. So hopefully this covers what I needed it to be, because I know I went over stuff over and over again, but sometimes you have to do that for stuff to sink in. So is what's better, learning in the school or watching stuff on YouTube or DVDs? There's nothing like a living teacher, because that person could come up to you and fix you and say, oh, no, this is why it's not working. That angle's wrong. I remember Rodrigo just showed some guard move, Rodrigo Gracie. So I remember it was like putting the person back in the guard and going for something. And the person started to teach the student when they're a lower belt than the person they're partnering with. Rodrigo ripped them apart, you know, and it was scary, but it was good because that person needed that. Meanwhile, the person was flat on their back. You can't put somebody in your guard flat on your back. You got to be on your side. There's no mobility flat on your back. But this person didn't know, but they thought they knew. So, you know, take advantage of your teacher, because that person might not be here forever. They might sell the school and move on. They could pass away. They might just retire and not teach anymore. I was very fortunate to have Renzo Gracie 5 days a week every night, because I went Monday through Friday for years on end. You know, and we had amazing people there. We had Rodrigo Gracie, Matt Serra, his brother, Nick Serra, Ricardo Almeida would be there, who's an amazing teacher. That's why Tom DeBlas is who he is. Ricardo's one of the best teachers out there. And they were lucky and we were lucky because we got to learn from them. You know, we didn't go, oh, who cares what he teaches in class? This is what I need. Well, if you think that, go to that school. If that person's nearby, go to that school. But don't disrupt everything. And don't be a cocky asshole, which jiu-jitsu makes people into it. No, actually, jiu-jitsu doesn't do it. You become more of who you are. So if you're an arrogant person and you have insecurity issues and you got to be a dick, you can be more of one as you start to go up the ranks in jiu-jitsu. So I would say if you're a new blue belt and under, focus on what you're doing in school. Listen to your teacher, pay attention. Don't ask what if questions. Ask, okay, the move's not working well for me, what am I doing wrong? You know, do it like that. And then once you start to get to a high level of blue belt, then start to look at some stuff that you know you want to work on, but maybe you haven't really learned in class, and there's somebody who's an expert on it who made a DVD about it. This is the way that I would personally go. So hopefully this helped. If it rattled your cage, you're probably one of those people, and you should start to rethink on how you train in class and how you treat others in class, especially your teacher. If you're not, that's great, because this is something that I just had to talk about, because it's something that's just big now with social media. Everybody's doing something else. You know, one more thing, you know, think about what your jiu-jitsu is. Is it all no-gi? Is it all gi? And I'll talk about that in the future. But if you're doing all lapel guard stuff, I hope you don't compete in no-gi, because there's no such thing, you know. So as a beginner, the teacher's going to guide you. You have to have trust and faith in them and let them do their job. That's what you're there for. That's what you're paying for. Once you get to a high-level blue belt, then I would start to look at stuff, because you should already have a high understanding of things with depth, you know, and details. And then from there, you're safe, because now you have a foundation of jiu-jitsu where there is a deep understanding to all the other moves that you're watching. So hopefully this helped. If you have any questions about anything, or any comments or any topics you would like me to cover, put that in the comments section. Yeah, I've been doing martial arts since I'm 7 years old. So I've done almost everything out there. Jiu-jitsu since 1996. And I got, you know, fortunate enough to learn directly from the Gracies, and that's it. So thank you for lasting this whole time, and I will see you soon.
Zip it.
You can't even
Zip it. Zip.
look. All
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Exhibit A.
Number 2, would you please back me
Look,
up?
I'm Zippy Longstockings.
I can't.
When a problem comes along, you must zip it. Zip it good.
Frau, would you please?
Kisuhai pindawa nitahioto. Subtitle: Zip it.
I'm just trying to.
Zip. Would you like to have the suckle of my zipper?
I want you. Stop.
Zip it.
This
Zip
is.
it.
Oh, you know, you're like a child. Talking. If you just one time.